The reserve list is two heads of a coin. One side, it has no value and players don't care. The other side, value goes up, players get FOMO, and everything goes upside down. We've been on both sides of this coin in the last few years, and right now the coin says that the value will continue to fall. But what if the coin flips to the other side? The reserve list is like a choose your own adventure. You can turn to page 26 if you believe in the reserve list, or you can turn to page 52 if you don't believe in the reserve list. But both of these stories are going to have an ending. Welcome back, everyone. MTGMOXMAN here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. And before we start the video, remember, if you enjoyed today's content, like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bells as I upload daily content. And I look forward to seeing everyone in the comment sections of the videos. Now, the reserve list really does have two tails, right? You got people who believe, people who don't believe. I guess we could almost say there's a third group who's undecided about what's going to happen, but we're going to focus on the two. Now, for anyone who loves the reserve list or likes the idea of the financial investing side of the reserve list, those type of people, like myself included, I believe in the reserve list. I can state that and love it. When we're looking at the outside market space around us, when you're looking at the markets right now, bank stocks, everything is down. Everything's down. It's like it's on sale. Things are going so badly. Interest rates are up, inflation, everything's downward pressure, which just makes everything more affordable. The reserve list is not immune to those pressures. So everything went down. Money is drying up. Things are more expensive. Inflation is everywhere. And the reserve list is shrinking almost side by side with the rest of the stock market around it. Everything's being pushed down. Prices are being suppressed. And that makes a lot of these things more affordable. Just like a bank stock that I paid $90 for a little over a year and a half ago. Now I'm getting it for $60. It's like 30% off a bank stock. And here in Canada, you guys know, banks don't really go out of business like they do in other countries because they're protected by the government. It's a lot of discount savings. So the reserve list, I treat it no differently. The reserve list is cheap right now. Now, let's just say the reserve list is going to zero and you're on the other side of this coin. You're like, you know what? This stuff's worthless. It doesn't matter at all. And you just want to, not worry about it. Just buy the cards you want to buy and have a good time. Now let's go back to the reserve list side of this story. So the reserve list has a history. It was created under certain circumstances way back in the early 90s because a lot of reprinting went on. People rejected it because they'd spent hard-earned money and the reserve list got created. I have lots of videos covering this in the past, but there's a quick synopsis for you. So now you've got these cards that have value, they're protected, and they're not going to go anywhere. As much as Wizards wants them to, every time they try to poke that bear, things don't go very well, okay? So now you have reserve list cards that are cheap, kind of protected still as far as we know, and they have downward pressure right now making them very affordable for a lot of players. Best prices we've seen in years and still continuing to fall. Now the other side, those players who ignore the reserve list, hate it, don't care, the cards are too expensive, and they're just living their lives. They're buying whatever they want to buy, they're having a good time, they still feel the same pressures. They still believe the reserve list is going to zero, so they're not going to put any money there. So they're buying the cards they want to buy. Wait a second, I just said that. They want to buy the cards that they want to buy. They're going to buy Shoulder of the Apocalypse. They're going to get a Vorinclex. They're going to go ahead there, maybe get Mind's Desire off the ban list. They're going to have those cards. But those cards are almost, and in some cases, more expensive than reserve list cards that are kind of protected and undervalued right now. So what harm is there in buying a reserve list card that's cheap? Well, it's worthless. Nobody plays with it. I don't know if you've noticed lately, but Fork, Brain Geyser, Wheel of Fortune, Sliver Queen, Volross Stronghold, I still play with Thralls. And I have a really good commander deck that plays with my Thralls. You guys have probably seen it, and some of you guys I play against. This is some crazy times to think about that. But it's true. Newer cards with the prices that Wizards of the Coast has slapped in everyone's faces make reserve list cards look cheap because Wizards can't touch it. They want to. They want access to that so they can just rake us over the coals for more money, and they keep inflating the price of their boxes, but it's getting to the point where you can almost buy packs of Fallen Empires from almost 30 years ago, and they cost as much as a collector booster pack, maybe even a little bit less. or a Homelands pack. How long until those kind of booster packs, like, hey, let's think about it, double flip trip masters, the failed product of Commander Masters where you had to pay hundreds of dollars for a single pack? I can get a pack of the Dark for the same price. That's when you know things are wrong. And that's when you know the prices are messed up. Guys, you can believe what you want, but the history of the reserve list has already been written. It started back in the 90s, and dual lands were like $1 to $3 from the local LGS, who also sold puzzles and board games. And then they became $10 and $15 and $20 and $40 and $90. I remember buying a couple at $90 and freaking out, saying these used to be $5 when I was first coming back, I guess 2007. And now, dual lands went all the way up to $1,000+ if you were buying a volcanic island or an underground sea, and people lost their minds. People had FOMO and they were buying this stuff. Other people complained and said, this is worthless. Pressures come on the outside, prices get suppressed. Makes them more affordable, makes them cheaper, makes them, well, I guess a restructuring is happening. It just makes them there. And those players who hate the reserve list are going to sit over there and say, this is ridiculous. But the players over here who love the reserve list are saying, I lost a lot of money. And one day I think those things are going to go back up. I'm not selling anything. I love playing with these cards and I'm going to keep collecting them. You're on one side or the other. But the history of the reserve list was already written. And the value eventually will come around, just like the market we're in. Things will reprice. People will get more accustomed to how things are. Sooner or later, some event happens that makes the markets go up or makes more money available, and that means people will slush things back into reserve list cards and get some of the cards they always wanted. But the difference will be between then and then now in the future. So now when things are cheap, you can get a conch horn for $1 from Fallen Empires and you don't care because it's worthless. But tens of thousands of people bought conch horns when they were $15. Are you going to be one of those people that buys it now for $1? Or 5, 10, 15 years from now, somebody buys it for 30, 40, $50 when inflation hits? You're on one side of the coin or other. But we know what's going to happen with those cards. That's my opinion and how I look at it. And that's why I keep buying the cards. It's crazy to me to think they're this cheap right now. It's great for me. I'm buying all the cards I want. And that's how I feel about this. That's the end of the Choose Your Own Adventure. We're going to the end saying, yeah, if you chose the reserve list side, I think you're on the right side of history and things are going to work out pretty good. The non-reserve list people, you're still buying cards. You're still having a great time. But remember, reserve list cards are actually costing less than new cards coming out. Kind of crazy to think about, but it's true. All right, guys, let's get to this top 10. I know we've been talking for a while, but we have to get to the hottest selling cards in Magic this week. These are the reserve list edition hottest selling cards. We have some crazy stuff to go over this week, so let's get this party started. We're going down the yellow brick road from number 10 to number 1, but this is your Hot 10. Here we are at number 10 this week. It is Mox Diamond from Stronghold with 35 sales this week, August 28th to September 2nd of 2023. The average price tag is $608 US. The market is $605.64. It is €404.15 to get this card into your house, and it's around $750 here in Canada for a near mint copy. Now, for those who are unused to seeing this amazing piece of Magic history, Mox Diamond is a zero casting cost artifact, and when Mox Diamond comes into play, choose and discard a land card or sacrifice Mox Diamond. Tap Mox Diamond to add one color of any color to your mana pool. Play this as a mana source. That's why that card is so good. You can have a land, ditch a land, and put a Mox Diamond out. You get a red and 6 and like put the card back in. I mean, it's crazy stuff, guys. Amazing stuff we can do with cards like this. Now, number 9 this week is from Visions. It is Undiscovered Paradise with 36 sales this week. The average price tag is $11.81 US. The market price is $11.49 US. €11.98 to get this card in your house, but this is for a near mint copy. If you were on TCG Player looking this card up right now, you'll find copies for between $5 and $7 US for lightly to moderately play. You don't have to buy a near mint to enjoy the epic power of this card. And guys, it's an amazing card. Undiscovered Paradise is in so many landfall decks. It is a land that says tap to add one color of any color to your mana pool. At the beginning of your next untap step, return Undiscovered Paradise to its owner's hand. Now guys, remember, this card is an amazing thing to keep recasting, getting the right color mana to mana fix your deck, but also being able to keep using it for landfall ability is amazing. I love the card, and if you choose to buy any of these cards on TCG Player, remember guys, I have an affiliate link. It is in the description of every video I put out. If you click that link, it's going to take you to TCG Player, and of course you guys are helping the channel because we get a 3.5% kickback on anything you buy on TCG Player using my link. Now, number 8 this week is Badlands from Revised. Now, the funny thing is a lot of dual lands had quite a few sales. Not all of them made the list this week, but Badlands definitely made it with 41 sales this week and an average price of $394 US, the market price of $400 US, 281 euro 98 cent to get that card to your house. And here in Canada, you can find a moderately played for around 400 bucks, but a near mint's going to run you about 500, so you might as well just go for a near mint if you can afford it because they're just so beautiful. If you're on TCG Player, I think they had some copies for a little over $300 US, and that's for moderately played. And of course, dual lands, what can we say? They're the lands to always, everything else is modeled after these. Every other land type you've ever seen in Magic is based on these being the best of the best, and now everything else is some variation or iteration of some version of these cards. It's amazing. Now, number 7 this week is Fork with 46 sales this week. Average price tag $38.25 US. The market price is $38.30 US. 19 euro 9 cent to get this card to your house. 45 bucks here in Canada. But again, we have that variation where you don't have to buy near mint. There's lots of copies. Revised was played everywhere, and people beat their cards up before sleeves existed. You can find this card for $18 for moderately played US price. Guys, keep this stuff in mind. Being able to tap 2 red and any one sorcerer or instant spell that was just cast is now duplicated. Treat Fork as an exact copy except for it's red, and you choose new targets. That's crazy. Love this card. It's in a few of my decks. Just amazing. Now, number 6 this week is Rainbow Veil with 50 sales this week. And guys, Rainbow Veil is one of those cards I've always loved. I like the artwork. I like the style of it. And it's a very great, usable card. People forget that these cards give you any color mana. Now, the average price for this card from Fallen Empires is $7.19. The market price is $7, €5.90 to get this card into your house. Now, when you look at Rainbow Veil, tap to add 1 color of any color to your mana pool. Control of Rainbow Veil passes to an opponent at the end of turn. So a person who may not even have cast something, okay, you could give them the Rainbow Veil, especially if you're making some kind of alliance. We all know how things work in Commander. This card can be so underrated when you need to get things done. When you and your teammate are trying to play things off, it's crazy. Because officially you're opponents, so you can do crazy stuff, but unofficially you're like, hey man, we're going to make this work. Love this stuff, guys, and it's so inexpensive. Now, number 5 this week was a bit of a surprise. We got Wheel of Fortune Revised Edition, 55 sales this week. Now, the average price is $288.47 US. The market price is $276.62, 179 euro and 34 cent to get this card into your house. Guys, 55 sales is pretty respectable for Wheel of Fortune because this thing says 1 red, 2 generic, sorcery. All players must discard their hands and draw 7 new cards. Guys, 7 new cards. Think about that. It's a whole new hand. And there's so many ways of making this thing a crazy combination card that players have always wanted to buy it. You can find this thing a lot cheaper, though, when you're looking for the heavily played copies. So save yourself a few bucks. If you're not worried about investing or MTG financing, you just want to play with the card, look for a really cheap version, okay? Now, number 4 this week is Goblin Wizard. Now, I kind of expected this to be here after Rudy's video. When he did that video, I knew, there's a little bit of surge in the market. So 63 sales this week. The average price here is $54.25 US. The market price is $51.40. 72 euro 23 cent to get this card to your house. $75 in Canada, but there was a damaged copy at a local retailer for 32 bucks, so it wasn't too bad if you just wanted to play with a copy. Now, Goblin Wizard is a 1/1 goblin. It's 2 red, 2 generic. It says tap, take a goblin from your hand and put it directly into play. Treat that goblin as though it were just summoned. Now, what I find interesting, it also has a secondary ability, which didn't happen a lot back then, where it says target goblin gains protection from white until end of turn. That means you have that little extra protection. Kind of great to see, okay? Goblin Wizard really is an amazing card, and it taps put any goblin into play. So later on, 10 years from now, if they create a 10/10 Goblin Hydra, right? Some subbreed, this guy can literally just tap and put it into play. Remember that, guys. You don't know what's coming down the pipe, but these multi-faceted things they're doing with Goblin, Hydra, Monstrosity, Horror, Elf combo, Mutant, yeah, they can do whatever they want. And they seem to be doing it more often, so keep that in mind too. Cards like this are just so broken. Now, number 3 this week is Taiga, and that is 68 sales. Guys, 68 sales. The average price is $345.82. The market price is $358.48. And then we've got €233.24 to get this card in your house. $500 here in Canada for near mint if you can find one. I didn't have any luck locally, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere here in Canada. But 68 sales is a whole lot of sales for Taiga, man. Crazy stuff. And again, just like Badlands, it's dual land. Dual lands, the best of the best. It's just great. Okay, guys. Now, let's go to number 2. This one upsets me. That's right. I said upsets me because it's Fast Bond again. 72 sales. August 28th to September 2nd. 72 sales for no reason. Unlike many of the cards we play with, Fast Bond is one I've always loved. I said people should buy like 4 or 8 when these things were like $5. Buy it, hold on to it. But I'm looking at Fast Bond and I can't help but think, since nobody really plays the card, but people keep buying it. This is week number 7? 6 or 7 that this card has been in my top 10, and I still have no information about why it's getting so many sales. Guys, this is like a mini buyout every week now. It's kind of a running gag now, so you can put down Fast Bond in the comment section because it's going to drive me insane. Average price $17.82 US. Market price is $16.16 US. €15.51 to get this card in your house. $25 here in Canada for a near mint copy. And let's face it, being able to lay as many lands as you want and just taking 1 damage means absolutely nothing to most players. But in a game of Commander where there's 99 other cards, I don't think this thing has the impact people think it will. I think it should be unbanned and let the market decide how it all plays out. And if it does get unbanned, somebody's going to get rich. It won't be me, but it's going to be somebody. Now let's go to your number 1 card this week. That's right. Number 1 is Thrall Champion. So Thrall Champion had 117 sales last week, Fallen Empires, and this card's still falling in price. It still lost a penny. Now this card is $3.57 is the average. The market price is $3.57. €3.53 to get this card into your house. $5 here in Canada. So what is a Thrall? You guys should read the history of the Thralls from Magic if you haven't read it before. It's amazing. I actually have a lore video on it that you can look at my lore section. I don't do a lot of lore now, but it's there. My lore section has it. This is a 2/2, but it is a Thrall, so it gets an error +1/+1. So it's actually a 3/3. And it has 1 black, 4 generic. So it's 5 to cast, but at least it's only a splash of black. Take control of target Thrall. You lose control of target Thrall if Thrall Champion leaves play, or if you lose control of Thrall Champion. So hold on for a second, guys. Think about changelings, think about shapeshifters, and all the other crazy things that can turn creatures into something else. And this thing can all of a sudden start taking them and just snatching them. It's amazing. And you don't know if a card like this will ever be broken, which is why I've always bought it. And I was buying it when it was like 50 cents. I love the card. Loved it as a kid, and I still love it now, just like Soldevi Excavations. And if you're new to the channel and you don't own a Soldevi, you should go buy Soldevi Excavations. All right, guys, you made it to the end. We're here. So when you think of this market space and you think of this choose your own adventure style where the masses of people believe one thing or the other and you feel like you're being squeezed, decide for yourself. We're all grown-ups. Decide for yourself. I believe in it. I'm going to keep buying it. That person doesn't believe. Have at it. Don't believe. But if something goes wrong, I can accept that I'm a big boy. I spent my money and things went to zero. Just like when I buy a candy bar and eat it, it's all gone in the end. But at least I'll get to keep the cardboard in this case. Whereas another card gets reprinted, and yeah, you see where I'm going with this, right? It's a never-ending loop. That Thrall Champion ain't getting reprinted. Still looks pretty awesome. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out with me. Thanks for being here on the channel. Remember, shop smart, shop S-Smart, and always bring a friend to Magic. And of course, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons I have on my channel. Without my Patreon support, uploaded daily content just would not be possible. So because of the patrons here supporting the channel, the YouTube membership members pitching in, guys, it makes this content happen. Thanks again to everyone. Yes, I got a haircut. And yes, I did it myself. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, my kid's got his first day of school. You want to look presentable to the other parents around you when you're dropping your kid off. So, you know, I had to get all like slicked up. This is as good as the MOXMAN gets. The beard's trimmed down. Everything looks tame for the start of school. Does that sound good? let's get to something serious. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Nobody cares now if I walk off and get my coffee. So here's my coffee. Shop smart, shop as smart. Necronomicon ex mortis. Klaatu Verata Nick. Oh, you get where I'm going. Guys, I want to tell you a story. It's story time. Now, if we get story time on the live stream tonight, I'll probably tell the same story. In between the matches of my Wilds of Eldraine pre-release, which, by the way, yes. Anyway, I won. Okay, I won. People do not build properly when they're building their decks. It's crazy, but that's what happened. We'll probably with the packs during the live stream too. I'm going to have some stuff on the wheel. It'll be fun. And somebody was playing Commander, and I was like, oh, you guys are playing Commander. He goes, oh, you want to join in? We're about to start. I said, yeah, I'll join in. And let's understand something. I'm playing my Throwbolt. Anyone's been on my channel for a while, this has Rogoth, son of Rogoth. Rogak, son of Rogak. And of course, I got Tevesh Savat. They're partnered together, so I got Thralls and I got Kobolds. Ridiculous combination, but my deck can be lethal because of how my token creation goes. Now, number one, somebody sees the City of Shadows in my, turn 2 or turn 3, and they see City of Shadows come out. And the guy's like, what's that? I go, City of Shadows. He goes, what does it do? So I explain what City of Shadows does. He goes, okay. So I ended up taking control of a couple of creatures that were changelings. I'll be honest. I took control of them. That's why I mentioned it in the video. I took control of them and I sacrificed them to the City of Shadows. City of Shadows loved it. Anyway, this went on for a while until the person got other creatures and I couldn't do much, and they blew up the battlefield a couple times and my armies went away. But the cool thing when you get kobolds or being able to create thralls with Tevesh and bring things back, you can get all kinds of crazy stuff going, right? So I have all these more tokens being created, and I kept sacking them, blocking and sacking, blocking and sacking, hanging on for dear life. And then you're like, oh, and we're gonna wheel. The other guy's like, what is that? I go, it's Wheel of Fortune. Discard your hands, draw 7. He goes, because he had like this big, huge hand, like he had the reliquary tower, like he had an infinite hand size. And I go, yeah, we're gonna ditch it all. We're gonna draw 7 because I had no cards in my hand. I top draw. So we go and we top draw, and this guy comes out and they draw their 7, but it's my turn. I have tons of mana, right? Because my City of Shadows and I basically I took everyone out. Everyone just that hail of fire. It's from Amonkhet. I forget that one, but it has X damage +3. Anyway, I blew everybody up. It was horrible. It ended badly, and I was just like. And at the end, they said, "Can we see some of these cards?" Because they'd never seen a Volroth Stronghold, and this is where this whole reserve list conversation came up. And then some people were like, oh, the reserve list, these cards are worthless. I go, did you open that Shieldred? Come on, man. He goes, no, I bought it here. I go, how much did you pay? He goes, oh, it was like $60. I go, my Volroth Stronghold cost that. A little bit less, I think, now. Those conversations started, and they start looking things up on their phones, and they're like, yeah, that's how it is, guys. It's cheaper than the newer cards coming out, and that's when things are backwards. Anyway, I had a blast. It was a good time. Educated some people, and they didn't know who I was, which was awesome. Guys, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the Ramble Jamble. This video is going to be so long today, and it was worth every minute of it. So thanks for being here and sharing it with me. You guys are awesome.